Welcome to Out With It, the series by and for LGBTQ+ families, where the conversations are raw and the mission is clear: to achieve justice, safety, and belonging for every family. My name is Benjamin, and I am Family Equality's Multimedia Storytelling Fellow. This episode was recorded in Provincetown, Massachusetts during Family Week, the largest gathering of LGBTQ+ families in the world, where folks from all kinds of backgrounds come together to soak up the sun, enjoy some incredible seafood, and experience the kind of safety, culture, and New England charm that only Provincetown can offer. For many people, Family Week is a safe space, and safe spaces offer us a place to express our most authentic selves. They allow us to envision a world where people are provided with the resources they need to thrive, and they help us develop a sense of pride. But in 2025, it can be incredibly difficult to find safe spaces. So what is it about Family Week that brings together so many individuals across the world year after year? And how did Family Week get started to begin with?
To be honest, it's probably one of the things I'm most proud of from a professional kind of perspective of having contributed to, because I think mostly because I feel like it really, for the people that are able to go, overwhelmingly, they just find a sense of acceptance that they don't feel anywhere else, because they're suddenly in a place where gay parents and their kids are a norm.
You're hearing from Scott Davenport, one of the parents who helped found Family Week in 1994. After searching for new ways to engage a relatively small community of LGBTQ+ families, and before everyone had a smartphone, Scott and his family decided it was time to try something brand new.
We went to Provincetown, and not with the intent of like, oh, let's create a new event, right? We went there for a family vacation with the two kids, and while we were there, we kind of fell in love with the place, number one. And number two, we would go to the beach every afternoon, and lo and behold, there were other families like ours on the beach playing with their kids, because that's what families do, during a summer vacation. And so we just, the kids meet, the parents meet. It was predominantly women, but there were gay men too. And by the end of the week, we had met enough families that we invited about 20 or 25 of them back for a barbecue. And we just all, we happened to have a condo right on the beach, so we could have a decent crowd, and everybody could play, and we could just sort of reconnect and talk about, what are you doing next year and all that kind of stuff. And we just sort of then went back home and said, we could do something there, and we could create an entire week of programming if we literally did one thing a day. That's all we planned. The very next year, we went to the organization and said, we'd like to try something, right? Would you be willing to sponsor it? We'd like to at least see if this can work. And we held the first Family Week. We literally programmed one thing. It was like we went on a whale watch with everybody one day. We went to the Pirate Museum another day. We had a barbecue on the beach for the last day. And we probably had 35, 40 families that showed up, that kind of thing, out of the blue like that. But everybody had a blast, because they were suddenly doing things with their kids, and their kids had playmates, and the parents were getting to connect, and it was still a vacation, and you still had lots of latitude and free time. It wasn't over-programmed, and it wasn't debilitating on us, because people paid for their own rooms. They got whatever housing they wanted. They could stay at a guest house. They could camp if they wanted to. They could stay in a hotel. They could rent a house, whatever, right? They weren't being asked to pay a large registration fee or anything along those lines, because all the stuff we were doing was basically somebody else's stuff, right? If you go on a whale watch, you're paying for the whale watch, but you're not paying us anything, and you can decide if you want to go on the whale watch or not. And most of them did, because the kids wanted something to do anyway. So it was not a huge drain on anybody financially. The amount of work involved, because we were only doing one thing a day, was simple and easy. And so it was a success. And so we went back and we said we'd like to do it again next year. And they were like, okay, that sounds great. And I think that we had probably more like 100 families that next year. the kids themselves benefit so much from it because they suddenly understand that they're not alone and that they're not unique and different and weird and so on and so forth. And I remember when our kids were small, Fritz was in preschool and Cotty, I think, was probably in kindergarten or first grade. And Fritz came home from preschool and said, Armando was his best friend at the time. Armando says, I can't have two dads. And, and every parent is like, oh my God, what do I say? What do I say? We didn't say a word, right? And our daughter sat there at the little table they had that they shared for dinner. And she said, oh, that's not true. This is what you say when he says that. Tell him we know lots of people that have two parents or two dads or two moms or a mom and a dad and a mom, blah, blah, blah. And we had done all this work, right? And she was doing the work for us because they had those experiences. And my son was like, okay, cool. And and we knew enough to know that all Armando was saying is, your family is different than mine. Right? And he's not really saying you can't have two dads. It's not allowed. That's not what he's after. He doesn't think that way. He just says, oh, that's different, and you're the only one I see like that, so that's really weird kind of thing. So but we had gotten that because we had been so heavily involved in the parenting community in Provincetown, at conferences. We had built our own local groups, both in Montclair and as well as back down in DC, which is where we had started. So, when you do that kind of work and you invest in that kind of community, it has these benefits for the kids, which are immeasurable.
Some safe spaces develop naturally, but oftentimes it takes work to make sure events like Family Week feel welcoming and accessible to everyone. This is where someone like Donna Walker comes in.
My name is Donna Walker, and I am the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Director for the town of Provincetown. I would say 1996 or 7. I was, at that time, working summers here. I hadn't moved here yet, and if anybody knows, I worked at the boat slip, and often people would ask us, while we were working, could we find a babysitter for their kids so that they could go out at night? And that was my first, I think, introduction that Family Week was occurring, because we had theme weeks, we still do, and it just appeared in the middle of all these theme weeks. So I love being surrounded by all the kids and all the noise going on, because it's not something that you hear every single week. And it was just nice to have a different kind of activity going on the lawn, across the way at the bas relief, and other activities. You could see what was happening.
What do you feel like are folks' biggest concerns since becoming the director of DEI in 2022?
So this is one of those issues that's come up for us because it does involve members of a community who are marginalized. So immigration rights have been strongly supported here, and I think the town has rallied to be able to support people. We don't know, but we do expect that our town might be targeted by ICE. So, we have a network of people who are willing to go to bat for anybody who may be whisked off the streets and deported. So that's something that I've seen happening lately. Primarily, we have an aging population here. We know that we have some income disparities, and we know that race is not a big issue in terms of the numbers. It is a big issue in terms of being able to meet the needs of those who may fall into a BIPOC category and make sure that they're being treated fairly, that we're being treated fairly. So the conversation is different than, say, a large city. Where they're going to have different numbers, they're going to have their conversations skewed by what those numbers say. We're not a cookie cutter town, and I want everyone to recognize that. We will do whatever we can to make sure that people enjoy living here and that people enjoy visiting here. So feedback is certainly welcomed. But I think for the most part, the people who come here really enjoy themselves. They're not afraid to say what's going on in their lives if they're having a hard time here, and we'll do whatever we can, bending over backwards, to make sure that they feel a sense of that sense of belonging because somebody has listened to them.
How would you define fairness and inclusion?
How would I?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm certainly a person of color, and there isn't a large group of people of color here, but I've chosen this as my home because I can't think of another place where I've been where I can live, where I've lived, where I can walk outside the door and within 5 minutes I've said hello to 10 people. And, I keep thinking, well, I can move back to the New Jersey area where I'm from, but no, I don't want to lose that sense of connection to a community. So fairness to me means everybody has a voice. We're all going to use our voice, hopefully, to better the community, and that we have positive debate about that. I think of going to town meetings sometimes and someone gets up and says something and I'm like, did they really say that? But at the same time, that person has a right to say that, and we don't try and put people down because of it. So to me, fairness is we listen to each other, we try to be as inclusive as we can, and that's pretty much it. Yeah.
But in 2025, traveling to Provincetown isn't all that easy. U.S. government data confirmed that the number of overseas visitors declined by more than 3 million in the first 7 months of this year, and domestic tourism is at a low as well. So who is traveling to Provincetown right now? And for those who aren't able to join us in person, how can you find that same sense of safety and belonging at home?
Good morning. My name is Manuel Quintero, and I've been attending Family Week 8 of the last 10 years. A very good friend of mine, Dr. Christopher Harris, ranted and raved about this event. We're both from Los Angeles, tried to find something similar on the West Coast, could not, and we bit the bullet and came 10 years ago with my 2-year-old and had the most enchanting, magical, mind-blowing week of our lives. We couldn't believe that this type of environment, positivity, security, inclusivity, and just the magicalness of all of it, where connected human beings from all different parts of the country brought together 1 week could happen. For me, it's a continuous, important, and vital to my children that they see and grow and experience environments where they can see other families with 2 dads, with 2 moms, with grandparents. There's so many family structures nowadays. And I wanted to continue and maintain the connections that we've had from 10 years ago. Back then, family equality would require in-person registrations, so orientations. There were 30, 40-minute little workshops, and they would welcome you and give you paperwork and, walk you through what the whole family week was, especially for first-timers that didn't know what we were doing back then. During that orientation, we met 2 beautiful German families, another family from London, a family from Miami, and a family from Boston. Our kids were playing. They were 2 and 3 years old at that time. They're still playing now. And every year we reconnect and we touch base. And I'm very thankful for what family equality does, for what it offers, and the experiences that it has provided my family. Not just here, but the meaningful, lasting connections beyond.
What do you feel like makes Provincetown such a safe space for all these families to come together year after year?
As a Latino, as a Mexican kid born in Los Angeles, we never ventured out of there. And I ended up first one in my family to go to the university and start exploring parameters outside of my own home space. This September 1st will be my 23rd year with my husband, who is a Caucasian, so we have a multiracial family. So we always talk about race in different parts of the country, different places that we teach them about, different backgrounds, different philosophies, and making sure that people are included no matter where we go. The one thing that we experienced here at Provincetown was just a magic and an enchantment and a charm and just an art, mecca like no other. I allow and I permit my children to take walks with their friends down Commercial Street, where I wouldn't do that in San Diego. They They meet at the pier. They do pier jumps. I allow them to go by themselves and do that. I trust them. I trust this town. There's so much safety and protectiveness. And my 8-year-old got lost 3 years ago, and we were frantically looking for him on Bradford Street. He knew to find moms. Find a mom. A mom found him, contacted me, and let me know where he was a few blocks away at the, it was a Saturday, and they were having the public market by the town hall. And when we came 10 years ago, I think there was 98 anti-LGBTQ legislations at that time. Today, there's over 850 active anti-LGBTQ legislative initiatives in our country, of which almost 600 happened this year alone with this administration. We have work to do. We have a lot of work to do. Everyone needs to feel like they have a seat at the table and that this is an environment for them.
How do you make your own community feel more safe and inclusive for yourself and your family?
So, as I mentioned before, my oldest son is 12 now. He was 2 when we first came. I said, how is it possible that I'm from San Diego, the 6th largest city in the nation, does not have something similar to this? So I started the San Diego Gay Dads group 8 years ago with just 4 families, with the context of bringing a bit of Family Week to San Diego. So over time it grew. We have had meetups, potlucks, play dates, pool parties, ice cream socials, kind of replicating what we do here at Family Week, but back home in San Diego, through all of San Diego County. And today I'm very proud to mention that we have over 408 dads and 275 kids in all of San Diego County. And not just San Diego County, but some Long Beach, South LA, some North Orange County, Palm Springs, Temecula. Some families have really wanted to join in, and we've allowed them access and admittance in order to expand our community because they have not yet developed that support group. So dads will post questions. We have families that were built from surrogacy, from adoption, from foster care, from prior heterosexual marriages. And the fact that they can ask a question, how do we handle this? Or does anyone know an attorney for this? We've had the first throuple in the entire United States be on a birth certificate for their children, for their 2 children in California. I'm so very proud of them. Amazing, beautiful individuals. So whether you are in Arkansas, whether you are in South Dakota, whether you are in the northern parts of Washington or Florida or the Midwest, what can you do in your community to rally up the folks that you consider safe and form a community, whether it's on Instagram, whether it's on TikTok, whether it's on Facebook? Many of these platforms or Blue Sky can offer private settings, so only those folks have access to it. And then you can have a monthly gathering. It doesn't cost anything to say, hey, we're going to meet on the 2nd Saturday of every month at 10 a.m. at this park, just to meet up. Bring snacks, bring food. If there's anything that you guys want to talk about, we can have a round table, but just to connect, or even just to have a barbecue or a lunch or a play date, right? And you'll find that once you start forming that community, you're going to get needs from folks. Well, let's do this, let's do that. Or my child is experiencing this. Can we have a session or a community discussion on how to better protect trans rights, on how to better protect adoptive kids, and what terminology would be best for them? My kid, when he was in kindergarten, kept getting bullied by another kid because he had 2 dads. And this is in San Diego. And they called my oldest son Tutu, meaning mocking him because he was a ballerina or feminizing him. And they called him Tutu for 6, 7, 8 months. Reported it to the administration. The administration talked to the parents. The kid kept doing it. And it wasn't until my oldest son then confronted the kid and asked him, hey, how many parents do you have? And the kid said 2. My son responded, I also have 2 parents. And because he had been in the camps here at Family Week, he learned terminology on commonality. What do we have in common versus the differences? And since then, that little boy stopped calling him Tutu. And now they've become really good friends and they're on the same soccer team. And it's funny because my son can probably kick his butt in soccer. So, interesting change of progression of dynamics there, but it takes initiative. It takes collecting people together. And in this day and age where we have legislative initiatives attacking our very own community, we all need to stand up. We all need to pick up the torch and see what we can do in our very own communities to help move forward and help fight back and say, hey, we are present. Hey, we are here. And hey, we are not going anywhere. And that for me is just so powerful to continue that connection with others that we've built and continue that community and motivating our children that yes, you too can do something. You too can make a difference in your world. Whatever community you're in your soccer teams, your swim teams, you can be kind to others. You can reach out to others, to that kid that's sitting there by themselves, inviting them to lunch, that kid that no one wants to talk to, befriending them, and just helping make this world a better place. And I think that's the positive message that Family Equality does well in everything that they do here. Every event, it's the messaging for the kids. That drag queen story hour really touched my heart because not only was it songs and books, but it was gifts that were given of the streamers, and then just the powerful message that you belong, you are powerful, you are beautiful.
Again, I just want to say how much it's grown. Okay, so you had the few people, as I said, babysitter. You're over 1,300 people coming to Provincetown each summer. That to me is phenomenal.
It's been very important in my life as a Mexican kid who was taught that my lifestyle was wrong, that I could never be a parent. So, a very deep thanks to Family Equality for providing this environment and inspiring so many people.
Family Week could not exist without you, our families. We're grateful for every bit of support and feedback as we work to make this event more accessible and create new events to connect with families across the U.S. In October, we'll have our annual Family Weekend in the Midwest, which takes place in Minneapolis, and stay tuned for more local events coming up in 2026. We hope to see you soon, but until then, stay safe, stay connected, and stay hopeful. This has been a Family Equality production. As the leading national organization for LGBTQ+ families, we work to advance equality through advocacy, support, storytelling, and education to ensure everyone has the freedom to find, form, and sustain their families. Today's episode was produced by the communications team, and our music was designed by the incredible Michael Koppelman. Be sure to follow @Family Equality on socials for up-to-date resources, community events, and ways to get involved.